Single dad warned of a system failure. The CEO laughed until everything shut down. Nobody in that gleaming server room believed the man in the hard hat when he said the whole system was about to collapse. They smiled at each other, exchanged glances full of amusement, and let the CEO do what she always did, point her finger at the person who dared to speak the truth, and send him back to his place. But Marcus Hale had spent 17 years listening to machines the way other men listen to music, and he knew the sound of something dying long before it stopped breathing entirely. Marcus was 41 years old, a single father of a 9-year-old girl named Lily, and a senior maintenance technician at Vertex Data Solutions, one of the fastest-growing cloud infrastructure companies in the country. He had no college degree, no corner office, no tailored suit. What he had was grease under his fingernails, a daughter who drew pictures of him in his yellow hard hat, and an instinct for electrical systems that bordered on supernatural. He had kept Vertex's servers running through 3 major storms, a power grid failure, and a cyber attack that would have crippled the entire network had he not rerouted the backup systems manually in the middle of the night while everyone else slept. None of that was on his performance review. What was on his performance review, filed by CEO Diana Voss just 3 weeks ago, was a note that read, * limited communication skills. Minimal corporate contribution. Consider reassignment, *. If you believe in kindness and second chances, hit that like button right now, leave a comment below, share this story with someone who needs it today, and subscribe to Kindness Corner, because stories like Marcus's are exactly why this channel exists. The morning everything changed started like every other morning. Marcus dropped Lily at school, listened to her recite the multiplication tables she had been practicing, kissed her forehead, and told her the same thing he said every single day, that she was the reason he kept going. Then he drove his old truck to the Vertex facility, badged in through the service entrance the way maintenance staff always did, and went straight to the lower-level cooling bay where he had been running diagnostics for the past 4 days. Something was wrong with the thermal regulation in server cluster 7. The temperature readings were inconsistent, fluctuating in a pattern that didn't match any standard operational variance. He had submitted 3 internal reports. He had flagged the issue twice through the digital maintenance portal. He had even slipped a printed note under the door of the operations manager. Nobody had responded. That morning, Diana Voss was hosting a tour for a delegation of European investors. She wore a red dress the color of authority and moved through the facility like she owned every atom of it, which, effectively, she did. When Marcus stepped forward from the corridor and asked if he could have 2 minutes of her time regarding a critical system vulnerability, the investors went quiet and Diana's expression shifted into something that had been perfected over years of boardroom control. She pointed at him the way you point at something you intend to move out of your way. She told him, in a voice smooth as marble, that Vertex's systems were monitored by a $7 million AI oversight platform and that if there were a problem, the platform would have flagged it. She told him that maintenance's job was to respond to alerts, not to generate panic. And then, with a smile directed at her investors, she said words that Marcus would never forget, that he was just maintenance, and that perhaps he should return to whatever pipe he had crawled out of. The laughter that followed was soft, professional, contained. But it landed on Marcus like something physical. He went back to the cooling bay. He checked his readings one final time. Then he did something he had never done in 17 years, he sat down on the floor between 2 server racks, took off his hard hat, and held it in his hands. He thought about Lily. He thought about how she had made him a card last Father's Day that said "My dad fixes everything." He thought about how much it would cost to fix what was about to break, and whether anyone would remember who tried to stop it. 47 minutes later, server cluster 7 failed. It did not fail quietly. The thermal cascade took down the primary cooling loop, which triggered an automatic load transfer to the backup grid, which was already operating at 91% capacity due to a separate maintenance backlog that had also been reported and ignored. The backup grid buckled. Within 6 minutes, 4 of the 7 server clusters were in emergency shutdown mode. Vertex's entire client network went dark. Banks, hospitals, logistics companies, municipal systems, everything running on Vertex infrastructure flatlined simultaneously. The AI oversight platform that Diana had cited generated 43 critical alerts in the span of 4 minutes. Every single one of them described the exact failure pattern Marcus had documented in his 3 internal reports. Diana Voss stood in the operations center and watched $11 million in service contracts begin to evaporate in real time. Her investors were already on their phones. Her board was sending messages she did not want to read. And somewhere in the building, a maintenance technician in a yellow hard hat was the only person who knew exactly what had gone wrong and exactly how to begin fixing it. They found Marcus still sitting in the cooling bay. Not panicking. Not waiting to say he had been right. Just methodically working through the restoration sequence he had already mapped out in his head over the past 4 days of being ignored. The operations director who located him said nothing for a long moment. Then he asked, quietly, if Marcus could help. Marcus stood up, put his hard hat back on, and said yes. It took 11 hours. 11 hours of Marcus moving through the facility with his team, bypassing failed nodes, rerouting power loads, manually overriding shutdown sequences that the AI platform had locked in error. He did not sleep. He did not eat. At one point, someone brought him coffee and he drank it without looking up from the wiring panel he was recalibrating by hand. When the last cluster came back online and the system status board turned from red to green, the operations floor broke into applause. Marcus looked at the board for a long moment. Then he looked at his phone. Lily had sent him a voice message 4 hours ago, her small voice saying that she hoped he was okay and that she had saved him some dinner. He stepped outside and called her back, and his voice broke in a way he hadn't allowed it to in years. If this story moved something inside you, if Marcus's quiet dignity, his love for his daughter, and his refusal to give up despite being dismissed touched your heart, please like this video, leave a comment below, and share it with someone who needs to hear it today. Your support keeps stories like this alive on Kindness Corner, ***. The board meeting happened 10 days later. Diana Voss tendered her resignation before it began. The incoming interim CEO's first official action was to promote Marcus Hale to Director of Infrastructure Integrity, a newly created position with a salary that made him sit very still in his truck for several minutes before driving home. When he walked through the door that evening, Lily ran to him the way she always did, arms out, complete trust, no conditions. He picked her up and held her for a long time. On the refrigerator behind him, slightly crooked, held up by a strawberry magnet, was the Father's Day card she had made. "My dad fixes everything." He had never thrown it away. He had always known it was true. Drop the word hardhat in the comments if you believe that quiet, hardworking people deserve to be seen, that the ones who show up every day and do what's right, even when no one is watching, are the ones who hold everything together. Thank you for watching Kindness Corner. Every story here is a reminder that dignity is not determined by a job title, and that the truest strength is the kind that keeps going, not for applause, but for love.